Welcome back. Where do I begin with Killer Croc? Well, Croc is and always has been my favourite Batman villain. Seriously, look at the bottom right hand side of your screen, he's right there. His design, his backstory, his overall vibe, it all comes together to create one of the most tragic inclusions in Batman's very tragic rogues gallery. As with all lore videos, the footage on screen often won't match what I'm saying due to a huge part of the event not taking place on screen. So if you can get past that, today we'll take a deep dive into the lore of who I think is one of the most underused and iconic villains Batman faces in the Arkham franchise. From monstrous sewer hunts to genetic experimentations, sit back, grab yourself a drink and a channel membership for early video access, and let's go through the life of my favourite Batman villain. Born with a rare degenerative atavism called epidermolytic hyperkeratosis, a real-world condition that basically, to explain the TLDR version, gives you scaly skin over time, Wayland's disease only grew worse with each passing day. Wayland Jones never really had a chance at a normal life from the outset. After his mother died giving birth to him and his father abandoned him, he was left in the hands of his aunt, a violent alcoholic who treated him with nothing but cruelty. His home life was brutal and his time outside of it was no better. At his reform school in Florida, he was mocked, tormented, and basically cast out for the way he looked, and over time he gave in to what everyone else saw within him. He accepted the role of the monster, and his rap sheet as a juvenile offender grew longer and longer. That path eventually ended with him killing another young person, an act that secured him a life sentence in Florida's prison system. After murdering his aunt upon finally reaching his breaking point from years of verbal and mental abuse, Wayland fled from society and made his way to Gotham. He found a place in a travelling circus and was thrown into a freak show as the alligator wrestler known as Killer Croc. For the first time in his life, he had something close to a real family, a sense of belonging that grew out of the bonds he shared with the other performers. That stability ended in tragedy when a brutal arson attack by audience members left the circus in ruins and the people he cared for dead. From there, Jones spiralled deeper into violence. His record stretched into dozens of charges. 7 counts of assault, 8 accounts of aggravated assault that left victims with broken limbs, 4 counts of murder in the first degree and 16 in the second, 12 counts of manslaughter, 4 of drug trafficking, 5 of racketeering, 1 burglary by forced entry, and even a petty theft charge for stealing from a coin-operated machine. In that same time period where he was racking up all these charges, Jones would personally track down the arsonist who had set the fire that destroyed the circus and kill them. By then, Jones had come to see humanity as nothing but a mass of flesh that deserved to be torn apart. He embraced cannibalism and found steady work as muscle for the mob and continued his string of killings. Doctors tried to study him to understand his condition and the damage his body had taken over the years, but every attempt revealed basically nothing. His wounds vanished as though they'd never existed, leaving the GCPD to conclude that his mutation came with an unnatural healing ability, a trait that made him all the more dangerous. The first time we see Croc in the games is on the night of Christmas Eve in Batman's second active year. Croc was one of the 8 assassins hired by Black Mask to kill the Dark Knight for $50 million. Believing himself to be working alongside Black Mask and not the soon-to-be-revealed Joker, Croc would help escort Commissioner Gillian Loeb to the execution chamber at Blackgate, which the Commissioner would ultimately die in. Following this, when Black Mask made his escape by helicopter, Croc stayed behind to deal with the strange smell he sensed following them. It was Batman, who had caught up pretty quickly, and the two fought in one of the earliest real tests of the night and the Dark Knight's career in general. Croc was eventually defeated, and while he refused to reveal Black Mask's location, he did let something else slip. He told Batman about the 7 other assassins who had been hired before being knocked out and left to the GCPD. He wouldn't stay out of the picture for long though, as later that night during the Joker's riot at Blackgate, Croc briefly reappeared, picking Batman up as a sniper lined up his shot. Croc grabbed him, and as either Croc or the sniper was about to kill Batman, Captain Gordon struck the sniper from behind with a baseball bat. The shot went wide, hitting Croc in the shoulder and forcing him to retreat. Following the events of Christmas Eve, Croc eventually found himself in Arkham Asylum. Whether he was formally transferred after Quincy Sharp reopened the institution, or whether he simply escaped Blackgate only to be locked up again on the island isn't entirely clear. What is known though is that he came under the treatment of one Dr. Gretchen Whistler, one of the few staff members who believed there was still some humanity left in him. She clung to that hope even after Croc bit off the hand of security guard Aaron Cash, one of the most infamous incidents in Arkham's history. Croc's patient interview tapes give us a nice little look into Croc's sessions with Dr. Whistler. I'll let them play out now. They're only about 4 minutes long, but I think they're crucial to understanding Croc a little better.
Is he here yet? You're kidding me, right? That thing's not a man. My God!
Hello. My name is Dr. Gretchen Whistler. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I hear you, bitch. So when's dinner? I'm getting hungry.
Taped patient session 2. Patient name Waylon Jones, a.k.a. Killer Croc.
So, is this the part where you try and reason with me? Find out why I did it, Doc.
We're here to help you, Mr. Jones.
You got a cure for me then, Doc? Can you make me normal?
Normal is a poor choice of words. No one's really normal, are they?
Figured as much. So, how about this, Doc? You let me go now, and I won't eat you.
You don't really eat people. It's just an urban myth.
Oh, you think? Keep believing that, Doc. Sit down and shut up. You think I'm scared of you, Cash? I've got your scent. You're... And I've got yours, too. Know what? It stinks. Carry on, Doc.
Please don't do that again, Mr. Cash. It's not helping. I'm sorry about the problem, but what can we do if you insist on hospitalizing 3 dogs?
Strap on whatever you like, Doc. This thing just tickles. I'm happy to wait here. Wait for the bat. He'll be back, and I'll kill him. Then Cash. Then you. In your dream. Now get him. Now.
Patient interview, Waylon Jones. Progress has been slow. What happened back in that house?
Just business.
Business? What kind of business practices result in a house full of mutilated corpses?
I don't like having my time wasted. Someone doesn't pay. They need a lesson. They owed me.
So you killed them, tore up their bodies. The police never found all the pieces.
They should have looked in the sewers.
Are you saying you hid them there?
After a while. Usually takes about 8 hours. Time to go, Croc. Get up.
Patient interview. Waylon Jones, a.k.a. Killer Croc. Last night, the patient was pacified after a breakout attempt. Guardian Cash is in hospital. Reports state that the patient attacked Cash and in the struggle consumed his left hand. Cash is lucky to be alive. He lost a lot of blood.
Me too. I nearly choked on that bony hand of his.
That's disgusting. He could have died.
He's just food to me. And once I get a taste, I want the rest of the meal. You know what I mean.
Get him out of here. Now.
Got your scent too, lady. I'll see you around. Tick tock, tick tock.
Adding on to the tapes, which end with the incident of Cash's hand being taken away and my goat making a poo joke, we can read Dr. Penelope Young's notes on Croc, and they're as follows. Psychological profile. Jones was born with a rare mutation that created a series of physical disfigurements which have worsened intensely with age. His skin is green and scaly, and his body has grown to grotesque proportions. While these disfigurements are unquestionably the source of Jones's various psychological disorders, his intense misanthropy seems to also derive from an understandably difficult childhood, which included alcoholic relatives and social rejection by his peers. He increasingly embraces an animalistic, subhuman self-conception. treatment. Additional notes, his acute misanthropy makes him difficult to treat. He refuses to respond to socialisation, reacting only when he is acknowledged as a dangerous beast, which is clearly how he views himself. It may be that his physical disfigurements are so severe that he will never be able to truly integrate into human society. This challenge is made clear by repeated and occasionally successful attempts to maim and kill the asylum's orderlies and doctors. Croc was one of the many inmates still locked up inside Arkham Asylum at the time of the Joker's takeover. His condition had worsened considerably since the events of Arkham Origins, not just physically but mentally. His body had grown larger and more reptilian, and his mind had slipped further into a beast-like mentality. Whatever shred of humanity might have been left in him seemed buried beneath his animal instinct, and his hatred for Batman had only grown deeper, most likely fueled by the fact that he was locked up in Arkham Asylum's sewers. The staff, unable to treat him and too afraid to confront him, kept him fed with slabs of raw meat and tried to ignore the problem lurking beneath their feet. But what I do find quite funny, something I only noticed a few months back actually, but if you go to Croc's feeding section and read the menu, you can see they're feeding him offal, intestines, tripe, leftovers, nothing on Fridays and Saturdays, but then on Sundays, presumably as a sick joke from Aaron Cash, they're contemplating feeding him crocodile, which is both really funny world building and also extremely twisted. Anyway, early in the night of Joker's Asylum takeover, as Batman is escorting the Joker through intensive treatment, Croc had to be brought through the same area under heavy restraint. Shackled at the wrists and ankles with a shock collar strapped around his neck, he was barely contained by several guards. Spotting Batman, Croc locked eyes with him and growled a promise that he would hunt him down and rip him apart. Once the Joker's plan was set into motion and the asylum fell into chaos, Croc was dragged back to his lair beneath the island, still waiting for his chance to strike. Batman caught another glimpse of him as he passed a door near the sewers, Croc slamming his fist against the reinforced glass and taunting him with yet another threat. Later, when Batman needed to retrieve the plant spores required to craft the antidote for Joker's Titan formula, he had no choice but to descend into Croc's lair. The task already was pretty much a suicide mission, but matters grew even worse when Scarecrow followed him down there, threatening to flood Gotham's water supply with fear toxin. But before he could act, Croc, the hero that he is, erupted from the water, dragging Scarecrow under in a sudden and pretty brutal ambush. Batman managed to trigger Croc's shock collar with a batarang, forcing him to retreat for a moment, but it wasn't enough to stop him from mauling Scarecrow and vanishing back into the depths. In the hunt for the spores, Croc stalked Batman relentlessly through his lair. He would burst from the water without warning, only to be driven back again and again by the charge of his collar. Every step in that sequence was a real test of trying not to piss yourself. Eventually, Croc tried to end it by cornering Batman at the exit, charging headlong in a final attempt to try and take him down. What he didn't know, though, was that Batman had rigged the ground with explosive gel, and as Croc lunged, Batman triggered the gel, blasting the floor out beneath him and sending the monster plummeting into the abyss. After the chaos of Joker's takeover, Croc remained locked away in the asylum's sewers. Hugo Strange, after opening Arkham City, sent Tiger Guard down with bait. It was human meat, to be exact, to lure him out. They failed to draw him out willingly, but still managed to capture him, eventually relocating him over to Arkham City. Down there in the sewers and abandoned subways, Croc carved out a domain for himself. More evidence of his presence could be found in one hidden room. There's a filthy mattress, piles of skulls, remnants of his restraints, chains, and his old shock collar. When Batman enters the sewers in Arkham City to get a sample of Ra's al Ghul's blood, if Batman tries to leave the sewers the same way he entered them, Croc can actually confront him.
You are not welcome here.
I'm not here to fight you, Croc. Let me pass.
Your scent is different. I smell death on you. I don't need to fight you, Batman. I just need to wait, and then I will feed on your corpse.
In the aftermath of Arkham City, Croc's services were once again bought, not by Joker this time, but by Harley Quinn, who tasked him with guarding the antidote to some of the Joker's toxic gas. Batman eventually tracked him down and fought him, subduing him by using his final freeze blast left over from Arkham City. And by the time Arkham City closed, Croc was no longer in custody. Instead, he made his home in the lighthouse off of Bleak Island. We can actually find remnants of his stay here, and the GCPD had no illusions about him. Aaron Cash Cash recorded an audio file after officers discovered Croc's old shot collar in the ruins of Arkham City, and he had stated that he knew that without it, there was no real way to contain him without huge amounts of casualties or Batman's help. Around this time, Riddler began his own ascent to power, leaving a trail of elaborate games for Batman and his allies. One of these trails led back to Croc, who had been paid off by the Mad Hatter and tipped off by Harley Quinn. After Batman put Croc down in a flood control facility, he didn't immediately haul him off to GCPD. Instead, he presented him with a deal. If Croc wanted to leave, he'd need to give some answers. Croc, still nursing his wounds, explained that the Mad Hatter had paid him a hefty sum for one of his own teeth. On top of that, Harley Quinn had tipped him off that Batman might show up that night, which is why he was waiting. With that information in hand, Batman kept his word and let Croc go back into the shadows of Gotham's underbelly, relatively unharmed. Freedom, however, was short-lived. Warden Rankin of Iron Heights Penitentiary targeted him, sending in guards to capture Croc from the lighthouse he'd made his home in. It cost them dearly, but they succeeded in knocking him out and locking him away aboard Rankin's ship. There, Croc was subjected to experiments that pushed his body past its limits. His regenerative powers allowed him to heal from grievous injuries, even regrow limbs, but the constant trauma forced his mutation to accelerate. By October 30th of the year Croc was captured, he barely resembled the man he once was. He looked more like a crocodile standing on two legs, a monstrous escalation of everything he already was. Rankin even considered putting him down, as sedatives and tranquilizers had become basically useless. By the time of the Arkham Knight incident, Croc's patience was gone. He broke free aboard Rankin's airship, slaughtering guards and survivors, before taking the Warden himself hostage. Warped beyond recognition, Croc demanded that Rankin reverse the mutation. The Warden insisted it was impossible, and Croc, consumed by rage, didn't believe him. He rallied the other experimented inmates and promised them freedom and to turn their fury against Rankin. When Batman and Nightwing intervened, Croc fought them both but was ultimately subdued and flown to the GCPD lockup. However, in a cruel twist of irony, his isolation cell was actually placed directly beside Rankin's. Croc promised Batman that everyone, Rankin, the guards, even the Dark Knight, would suffer in the end. Evidence of his torment sat in the GCPD's West Wing, the severed hand Rankin had taken from him during the experiments, and Aaron Cash, who'd once lost his own hand to Croc's bite, left a final audio note reflecting on the irony. He admitted that part of him even felt sorry for Croc, which is a sentiment I'm sure we can all agree on. I mean, Rankin was the real monster here, not my boy Wayland. I'm pretty sure Croc then dies in the final hallucination of the main game where the Joker-mobile hits him. I mean, it isn't real, which is good, but considering the options to shoot and kill Penguin, Two-Face and Riddler, I think we can pretty much infer that he died. Sadly though, this wouldn't be the end for Croc, because someone decided to make Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. After his capture at the end of Arkham Knight, Croc was flown to the newly rebuilt Arkham Asylum, much to Amanda Waller's surprise. He woke mid-transfer, lashing out against guards and clashing with Batman one more time. But even in defeat, his rage was endless, and when Waller orchestrated a breakout, Croc tore through enemies and guards alike, his brutality reaching a peak when he split a prisoner in two for getting in his way, terrifying the likes of Scarecrow and Harley Quinn, who scrambled to escape his wrath. Later though, Croc joined forces with other monstrous escapees, Clayface, Man-Bat, King Shark, even Solomon Grundy. But as the old saying goes, there's no honour among thieves, and they soon turned on each other. King Shark fled, Clayface disappeared, and Croc's fate after the battle was never confirmed. We all know he survived though, right? Probably killing someone on his way out of the scuffle, right? Surely. Anyway, that's where we leave Croc. His fate unconfirmed post-Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Although, given that that game isn't seen as canon by a large majority of the community, myself included, I think it's safe to say Croc is actually probably just swimming around Gotham's sewer system hunting for some food. If it wasn't obvious by the intro, I adore Killer Croc, and I think Arkham did a pretty good job at showing us his more sympathetic side, especially in Arkham Knight. Personally, I think his segments are always standout moments in these games, from his cat and mouse boss fight encounter in Arkham Asylum, to his little Easter egg appearance in City, his awesome tutorial fight in Origins, to his wonderfully handled DLC in Knight. Croc usually makes a good impression for himself, and personally, as a Killer Croc fan, I'm really grateful for that. Before I leave though, happy Batman Day. This will be the last video that gets uploaded before Batman Day, so if you're doing anything nice to celebrate Batman Day, or just chilling and watching a film, playing the Arkham games, reading some comics, I hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think about Croc in these games. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time, and goodbye.